Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Coach Allison, and we are in week 5 for Defy Aging with this new year. And this week, our workout is a little different. We have two kind of different sections of the routine. And the first section, is actually just one exercise, and we're going to dedicate 8 minutes to it. And it's not because it is overly cardio-y or anything like that. It's actually a resistance exercise, and the reason we're going to dedicate 8 minutes to it is because it's a lot of balance and coordination, and I want everyone to feel like they have time to practice it and master it and just really get it down well. And so I don't want it to be stuck in a circuit of 30 or 45 whatever seconds and feel like they are rushed to just get it down well and maybe never feel like they get it down well. So we're going to dedicate the 8 minutes to it. We'll demonstrate that, of course, in the demo section of this video. But that's how that's going to run. Real 8 minutes. It's a single-sided exercise. So you'll have a few reps on each side and keep going back and forth, left and right. And within that 8 minutes, then that way your coach will have time to come over to each individual. If you have questions about it, hey, is my form okay? Or how do I do this again? Or can you help me with this? Your coach will have time to come up to everybody and it'll be a nice 8 minutes of practice, mastering that one movement. Okay. Then we move on. The second section is going to be, it's kind of a circuit still, but you're not going to be rotating around the turf. You're going to be doing this circuit in your own space. Everyone will grab your own little space of turf. And it's 4 exercises. This is the key with this one. It's a little different. 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So keep that 60 seconds in mind when you are selecting your weights. There's only one exercise that needs weights, but keep that in mind when you're selecting your weights for that exercise. 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 3 rounds of that. All right, let's do some demonstrations. Okay, so the exercise that we are starting with, the one we're doing for 8 minutes, is a single leg deadlift. So I know we do standard deadlifts all the time, very frequently, either with kettlebells or dumbbells. It's the RDL, the Romanian deadlift. So that is what looks like this. And if you've been with us for a long time, you're super familiar with this. We did it last week, I think. Yeah, with dumbbells. Okay, so we do that all the time. A single leg deadlift, all of the mechanics and all of the cues are actually identical. Hinge at your hips, soft bend in your knee, hips and butt go back, flat back, shoulders down, don't shrug. I mean, all of that's the same. You're just on one leg. Just that minor difference. Okay. So, I mean, it obviously the balance is a huge component because you're on one leg. You don't have to use weights. Some people, I've actually had a lot of feedback from people over the years that a little bit of weight actually helps the balance because it actually, when you think about it, it kind of weighs you down, kind of grounds you. So if you start trying these and you're like all over the place with the balance, grab like a 8 or 10 pound weight. Not enough to be, because obviously when you get to a heavy enough weight, then it makes it more difficult again because you're adding a lot of weight. But if you add something medium-y, so try an 8 or 10 pound weight, you might find that helps your balance. But let's just review what this looks like single leg. So a double leg, if pretend I had dumbbells or something, you know what that looks like. We did it last week and I just showed you with the kettlebell, whatever. Now, if you pick up one leg, we always do contralateral with a single-legged deadlift. That means if you were holding weight, you hold the weight with the opposite hand of the balancing leg, of the working leg. So if I'm balancing, doing the work on my left leg, I'm going to hold my weight with my right hand. See how that's opposite? And then this arm, I like to put kind of out for like balance. That's just me. I'll show you from the side too, because I'm just trying to show you this whole opposite side thing. See? Opposites. The reason that is, if I was to have the weight in this hand, what our body will just kind of naturally do is kind of turn like this, see? And I'm like opening up my hip on this side. We don't want to do that. That's throwing things out of alignment. When we do a deadlift, we don't want this hip to open like this. And if you have weight pulling you down here, if you're doing the same side, that's just kind of naturally going to happen. So we don't want that. That is why we do contralateral. That's why we do balance on one side, weight on the other, okay? So I just wanted to explain why we do it that way in case someone's like, I think it feels better with the weight in the same side. Might feel better, like it might feel mentally, it might make more sense to you that way, but I wanted to explain the why. And that is why there's a physiological reason why we don't want this hip to open, because that throws everything out of alignment and that happens, okay? So that's that. Now from the side, as you can see, all of those, like I said, all the cues are the same when you do a single or a double leg deadlift. It's just a lot harder because of the balance. So soft bend, and pay attention to my balancing leg here, the leg that's doing the work, doing the deadlift. Soft bend in the knee. I'm hinging at my hip joint, same as a regular deadlift. I'm going to keep my back really flat. I'm not going to round or shrug or anything like that. Everything is going to be the same, except of course my other leg's going back. I'll show you 1 or 2 reps here. So if you can see, all that looks pretty much the same as when I do it with 2 legs, right? I just can do these a little faster because it's easier. Okay, and the other leg, as you probably saw, the other leg does, I'll show you on the other side so you can see what the up leg is doing. Hello, balance. The other leg does just kind of go up and back. That's very important. It's kind of your counterbalance. So you do want this other leg here to go up and back like this. You don't want it to be like hanging low down here. That then is going to be too tempting to round your low back. If this leg is kind of like hanging down here, see how it's kind of tempting for me to round my low back? But if I get it up here, see how that helps to flatten my back? I'll show you again. I need some balance because I'm looking all around. If I have this leg down here, see how that rounds my low back? But if I get it up, it helps to flatten my back. So that's why the position of that other leg that's seemingly doing nothing, because it's not the leg that's working, but the position of it is very important. So you do want that back leg to be going way up and back because it helps that flat back position. And you saw me need the wall for balance. Let's talk about that. Totally fine. I don't want the balance to be a hindrance on this exercise this week. I want you to focus on doing the movement correctly and getting the hamstring and glute and back work out of it. So if you're, just every rep falling, tipping, go up to a wall like I did, put your hand on the wall and do all of your reps with your hand on the wall or a rack, and that is totally fine. I'd rather have you get those good deadlifts, practice the mechanics, and not worry about tipping all over. So don't worry about it. You just have to make sure when you switch sides, because this is my free hand on this side. When you switch legs, because remember, it depends what leg you're using with what your free hand then is. So when you switch legs, you have to turn around. Because remember, your balancing leg, this is my free hand when I'm doing this leg. This is now my free hand when I'm doing this leg. So you do have to turn around each time. So I knew this would be a really long demo, but it's very super important that you have all these cues. You might even want to try it if you get this video earlier than your first session, which you will because these go out on Sunday. I didn't want to try it. Like rewind this part, watch it again, and try a rep or 2 before you start your session. And your coaches will be there with you. We have 8 minutes to do this first exercise, 5 reps on each side. So you do 5 right, 5 left. Take a little break. It's a lot of lower back. I want to point that out too. If anyone is feeling a lot of tailbone, low, maybe even low, mid-low back here, you didn't do anything wrong. Single-legged deadlifts especially are a lot of lower back. It's just, it's supposed to target that area. So if you're even just doing those demos, I was holding some of those positions, I'm feeling I just did something. I just worked my back. So that is totally normal. Yes, I'm going to stop. This is getting long. Okay, I hope everyone gets these and enjoys them. They're very challenging. I'm proud of everyone for giving it a try this week. And let's move on to the next part. Okay, now we are moving into the circuit that's on the turf. So you're going to be in your own space. The first exercise, this is the one where you're going to grab weights And I warned you, it's going to be 60 seconds on. It's going to be hilarious because it's shoulders. It's going to be a seesaw overhead press. You're going to need to go light. So go light, because we all know, if you've been with us for a while, shoulders tire out. They fatigue pretty quickly. Seesaw press also tires your shoulders out kind of quick. So I guess I was feeling kind of nasty, mean when I wrote this. The seesaw press means one arm goes up while simultaneously as the other comes down. Whereas kind of a more quote unquote normal press, if we were alternating, we would wait until the other arm came down before we started the press on the other side. The movement is simultaneous with the seesaw. That's the only difference. So this will be your seesaw press. Doesn't have to be fast. They just move simultaneously. It's going to be for 60 seconds, which is just hilarious to me that I even programmed that. I was using 10s and I was getting pretty tired, and that was maybe 20 or 30 seconds. Pick appropriate weights. Perhaps have a light 2 sets nearby you if you need to change in the middle. But yeah, that is our seesaw overhead press. Second exercise after your 30-second break: squat to a front kick. Okay, we're going to get some legs, of course. Well, we had a lot of hamstrings and glutes with the deadlift, but this will be more quad. So a standard squat, so whatever your hip width normal squat stance is, we go, and it's going to be a lot of balance. Okay, so we go into a squat, then you come up. As you come up, we want this to be all one fluid movement. You're going to have to sort of shift your weight to one side because we're going to lift the leg up, because we're going to do a front kick. And then come down into your normal stance again, and we alternate legs with alternate sides every time we come up for a kick. I want to go over a kick with you really quick. Breaking it up into pieces for a front kick. We lift, extend, pull back, and down. Sounds silly, but sometimes the kicks can be kind of like straight legs or maybe some wonkiness there. So knee up, extend from the shin down or knee down, back and down. Keep that in mind. Anyway, so you get it all together. Squat, kick, squat, kick. And again, since you are on one leg for like 2 seconds or so, again, if the balance is an issue, feel free to put your hand on a wall or a rack. Just have something nearby to kind of gently make you feel a little more secure with that balance. That's fine. But a balance is a component of this exercise. We're always working on that balance and stability. So anyway, that's our leg station. That'll be not just legs, but a lot of cardio. That's why I threw that kick in there, because kicks are very, you couldn't see my, kicks are very aerobic. It's, it's kind of like kickboxing. So 60 seconds of that should get that heart rate up. Okay. Third exercise in your own space circuit, a plank hold. Nothing, not reinventing the wheel on this one. All right, standard forearm plank. So that's a low plank, traditional standard plank. We can go on toes. Okay, so we're nice and level. So that means our hips aren't way up here. We can definitely go to knees. If you're doing knees though, be sure that we don't have the hips sticking way up and back, because this isn't a plank. Your abs aren't engaged here. So we do want that diagonal body position. Hips are level. And of course, always do an incline option. If anyone is staying off the floor, grab yourself any level, the lower, the harder. So whatever height is appropriate, but grab yourself an incline and do our plank on an incline. But same thing though, want to make sure that we aren't, like this, because that isn't engaging your abs. You need that diagonal body position in order to be engaging your abs. So keep that in mind. All right, so whatever version of a plank is appropriate for you, 60-second hold for that. All right, fourth and final exercise is a swimming variety Superman. So we need to get something for the back. So that swimming Superman we haven't done for a while. So this is a back exercise, entire posterior chain really. So your entire back all the way down to your glutes. So arms start in the out position, and it's like, it's like the breaststroke in swimming. That's what we're mimicking here. So this is normal Superman, right? So as you lift, you're also sweeping or swimming the arms back like this. As you come down, arms go back to the start. And you are lifting the legs too, but you're not bending the knees. So the legs only lift up like maybe an inch or two off the floor. But so I'll do one or two more. Lift and go back. You're trying to get as much of your torso and chest off the floor as possible. Down and forward. lift and back, down and forward. So it's nice and slow. And then when you're in the down rested position, take, 1 or 2 breaths, take a moment to rest. It's not a challenge to see how many reps you get. Anyone staying off the floor, you can't exactly turn this into an identical standing option or anything. So we're going to do, going to do bird dog. That's a great alternative for that one because it hits all the same muscles. Could I be more unprepared? It hits all the same muscles and it's a great alternative. So bird dog on an incline. Soft bend your knees just so that you're not locking out your knees. So that's all. And I think everyone who's been with us for a while knows bird dog. Keep your neck neutral. So keep looking straight down. Don't do this because that does not keep your spine neutral then. One arm and the opposite leg forward. And then slowly and gently keep alternating sides. A little balance here. When you're in the lifted position, pause for just like 1 second. Just so you're not that way you're not doing this. And when you do that, it's just momentum. So you're not really proving to yourself that you're holding and using the muscles. You're just kind of flopping. So when you're in the lifted position, pause for 1 second before you come back down. That'll be your alternative for anyone not doing our floor exercises. Okay, that's the 4th one. Okay, and our finisher, normally called the team builder, but we're going to be working kind of independently, so it's not really a team builder this week. We do this occasionally just to isolate those arms every once in a while. We're gonna do an arm finisher. So we're gonna have half of the session start on the triceps, the other half start on the biceps, because you're gonna do 12 bicep curls with dumbbells, just normal curls. Okay, you can kind of pick your style of curl. There's the ones I'm doing. There's hammer curls, which keeps the palms neutral the whole time. There's palms forward the whole time. I don't love these. They don't feel great on my elbows. That's just me. Anyway, so whatever. Do 12 of those. And then I'm going to go to a band. And I'll pause this for a moment, but we're going to do 12 tricep push downs. Now this week, just for variety's sake, because we do this kind of combo sort of frequently, let's do an underhand version of the push down. It is harder. It's a little harder. So either maybe use a lighter band, although there's not that many options. Most people probably use the medium one. So you might just need to step a little closer, because when you're closer to the band, it makes it a little lighter as opposed to being maybe back here. What I'm referring to is the tricep push down. The only band we have at this club right now is this really hard one, so I don't know if I can even do it. We need to order more. Anywho, but normally it would be, see this overhand grip? Well, right now, this week, we're going to flip underhand. So at the start of it, before you start, you're looking at your fingernails, if that helps. And then, I can do it. Okay. And then it's like this. So that's the underhand grip. That's the variety difference. So try, if it's really hard like it is with this band, you might be tempted to shrug your shoulders to compensate. See how my shoulders are shrugging up? So make sure you're not doing that and fight the urge to do that. And what also might happen, let me just turn to the front to show you, your wrists might want to have the urge to invert, start to kind of correct themselves at the bottom. Really fight that urge and try to keep the underhand position like this. So it is hard. So 12 of the curls, 12 of the underhand push downs, 2 sets of each. Okay, so there's only so many bands, and if you have a larger session, so split the session into 2 groups. Half of them start with curls, half of you will start with the push downs, switch, and it'll all work out. So that'll be our finisher to really get those arms some good work this week.